No, sir.
Okay, okay,
Like,
okay. Once when you can see the PPT, kindly let me know.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, it's visible,
Is
sir.
it visible now?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let me start with. Um, so is the mutual fund safe? Thing is, there is a risk in investing in mutual funds. That's a risk of losing your returns or maybe your money. That is up to you. If you are choosing a risky investment like equity-based investments, that's a risk of losing your money. That is not cheated by someone. It is something the risk which you have in your investments. So that risk, I cannot. Nobody can assure you that you will be safe from that risk. That you have to analyze your investment and then make the decision. Or if you don't want to have such risk, means you have debt instruments and you have the government bonds as well. So that safety part I'm not bringing into here. This is if anybody loot my money, will anybody take away my money? In that perspective, I'm going to explain now. Mutual funds are 100% safe in that perspective. Nobody can cheat your money because mutual funds is not a company or a business. It is a trust. Mutual fund is something started by a trust under the Indian Trust Act. Trust means, for example, if a college is there, the college will be under the registration of registered as a trust. Trust means it is not formed for making money or for making business. It is formed for a benefit of some people. For example, in the college is a trust and the beneficiaries are the students studying there. Similarly, mutual fund is also a trust and the beneficiaries are the investors. If I put a 5,000 rupees into that, I am the beneficiary because I am going to get good returns. I'm expecting that. So definitely it is safe because it's a trust. Then all right, I'm giving my money to whom that money is going. Will that man take away my money and run away? This is the next questions. So you can see some words in your screen. So these are the people, we call them as constituencies of mutual funds, the people behind. So the first one is the sponsor. The sponsor is a person who applies to the authorities that I'm going to start a mutual funds. Please permit me. So he's like a father, some who is applying for this business. Shall I start a mutual fund or not? So that's a sponsor. So he applies to the authorities and take the permission from the authorities. So he applies to the authorities and take the permission from the authorities. So after taking the permission from the authorities, he applies to the mutual fund. I'm using a broadband. Oh, is it audible now? Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, so, uh, did you hear my explanation on trustees?
So start from sponsors. Sir.
Hello.
So you start from sponsor, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll do a thing. Uh, okay. Let me start with the sponsors. Shall I? Is it audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. So these are the people who are into the mutual funds for the well functioning of the mutual funds. As I told, mutual fund is not a company or a corporate; it is a trust. So trust means where there would be a beneficiaries. For example, if college is a trust and the beneficiaries will be the students. Similarly, mutual funds is a trust and the beneficiaries will be the people who invest into that, the investors. So is my money safe in the hands of these people? That perspective, we're starting from the sponsor. Sponsor is a person who applies for a mutual fund business or a mutual fund trust. So he make application to the concerned authorities to get permission to start a mutual fund trust. So he comes the first. Second is the trustee. So whenever there is a trust, there will be the trustees. All right. So trustees are the people who take all the process when the authorities allows to do a mutual fund business. So sponsors apply, and when the application is accepted and the permission is given, from there onwards, trustees take their part. They manage the everything, and they have to ensure that the beneficiaries are benefited. So the third one is the asset management company, the AMC. AMC are the real mutual fund companies who do all the fund management activities, because trustees are not allowed for that. They can only supervise these AMCs. AMCs will have their professionals, and through the professionals they do the professional fund management. For example, those companies, we call them as mutual fund companies, are not mutual fund companies in technically. They are the asset management companies. For example, we have the SBI mutual funds, we have the ICICI Prudential mutual funds. All these are not mutual fund companies. These are the asset management companies, AMCs. So what AMCs do is the money collected are being invested properly through them, and they do the pure fund management process, and they will be overviewed and supervised by trustees. Now the fourth one is the custodian. So who is this custodian? This is a very important person. He is a security for all our assets. For example, if I am putting my 5,000 rupees into mutual funds, the company, the AMC, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I put a 5,000 rupee into a mutual fund scheme, I will get allocated with some mutual fund units. And these units, someone who is doing an online, they will get that in DMAT. I'm hearing a noise. Hello? I'm hearing an unusual noise.
Yeah, please, everyone.
Sir, but your voice is audible, sir. Please go on.
But I'm hearing a humming. Okay, fine. Hello. All right. So shall I proceed?
Yeah, 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 sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now the custodian. Custodian is, for example, if I'm putting a 5,000 rupees into a scheme, my money is going into, when my money goes in, I will get allocated with some mutual fund units. And these units will be with whom? And those units will be in the hands of custodian. It won't be in your hands, or it won't be in the AMC's hands. It will be in the custodian hands. So all are the assets which are being bought by AMCs, like for equities or bonds or gold or real estate type of assets, whatever AMCs investing, buying with the investors' money, all these assets will not be in the hands of AMCs or trustees or sponsors. This money will be in the hands of the custodian. Custodian's only job is to maintain the assets the uh, of the investors. So they keep it with themselves. Without a proper channel, they will not open it or take it. So that's a custodian's job. And the next is the RTA, registration and transfer agents. So they maintain the database of investors, who has invested how much, who is having how many allocated of units. Every database management is done by RTA. And finally, regulators are SEBI. So they are into all, they regulate very periodically all these people and ensure that our money is safe. So is mutual fund safe? Yes, it is safe, in the sense, not about the risk of your investment, is it about the risk of losing. I mean, nobody can loot your money from you, because it is 100% safe by regulators. So I think mutual fund is safe in that perspective. Next is, how can I select my mutual fund scheme? Because whenever I don't know how many of you are investing into mutual funds. Someone 90% of investors who come to me, they will tell me that I want to invest, but they are totally unaware how much they want to invest. Their question is, if which will I get more money in future? These are the questions they have with me. So you should not go like that, right? You should not go like that. So you should know some important things. So first one is the expected returns. You would have learned this in your MBA or a BBA or anywhere else, but you call it as an average return. That is, you will have some returns, you find the average of it, that is called as expected return. No, that is called as, that definitely that is called as expected return. But what exactly is that? So everybody's important thing is, when you start earning, the first thing is you want to fix your expected return. That means how much I should get. That is your minimum returns. For example, I will be happy if I get 20% returns. I will be happy if I'm getting 35% returns. So when you get more and more, it's good. But do you know what should be your minimum returns? This should be a threshold. I may get 30, I may get 40, no problem. But I should not get less than something. That something is what you want to find out. For example, for me, if 12% is what my expected return means, I should not get less than that. If I'm getting less than that, I'm in loss. So this expected return is not unique, is not same for all. It will be different based on their income and expenditure. It is like your fingerprint. It may not be unique to all. Based on your lifestyle, based on the assets you own, based on the liabilities you have, based on the income you earn, based on your family members, based on the kids, there are many things which decides. But you should know, every individual should know what should be their expected returns. That's the minimum expected returns, the threshold. So now if I keep on explaining like this, you will not understand what exactly is that. So let us go a little bit deep into the expected returns. So now that's a question for you. I want rupees 5 lakhs after 5 years, and I can invest 5 lakhs every month. What is my expected return? That means you need a 5 lakh rupee after 5 years. You can invest 5,000 rupees every month based on your current. Hello? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want a 5 lakhs after 5 years. I can invest 5,000 rupees every month. So what is my expected return? That is from the income I can make a savings of 5,000. All right. And I have 5 years time. I need a 5 lakh rupee. So what is my expected return? You have to find out. And with that expected return, you have to find a mutual fund scheme or any investment schemes which gives you that returns, and you must invest into that scheme. You should not listen to the mutual fund salesman will come and tell you, sir, invest in that fund, invest in this fund. When he is telling those things, you should ask him, what's the returns you get out of it in percentage? That too for 1 year, for per annum percentage. And you compare that returns with your expected return. If it matches, go ahead. Or if the scheme return is more than your expected return, go ahead. The scheme returns is less than your expected return, please don't invest into that scheme. Now, how can I find my expected return? In my MBA, I have learned something called as summation x by n minus 1 or summation x by n. What is that? Yeah, it's not wrong, it's correct. But how can we find those inputs? So better we can understand how to find my expected return through Microsoft Excel, right? So I'm going to show you something now. Can you all see this Excel sheet?
Sir, no, sir. Actually, it's not open.
Is it when you can see, please still let me know.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
What are you seeing right now?
The first slide actually.
The slide is okay.
It's struck it seems that you can close and reopen again.
I think I should close down that PPT.
Yeah.
We can see the PPT or we can skip the PPT. It's not required. I have closed the PPT. Can you see the Excel file?
No, sir.
Oh,
It's same in PPT itself.
I have closed it. I will close and share it once again.
Yeah, please do that.
What's happening now?
No, sir. No.
It's still in the PPT.
Yeah, it's still in the PPT. Actually, you can close the team and open it again. You can
Okay.
restart.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I will not open the PPT again. I open only the Excel. Can you see my desktop now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay,
It's yeah, it's clear.
okay. So I don't open the PPT again. There is nothing more to look into the PPT. So we go only with the Excel file. Hello.
So please unmute, sir.
What shall I do now? Hello.
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
Okay. What are you seeing on the screen right now?
Like 2 files, one PDF and Excel.
Yeah. And that Excel is not opening. Oh my God. I disconnect and I open the file and get back. That's fine, I guess. Oh,
Okay.
it's opening. It's opening. It's opening. No. It's opening. It's opening. Yeah. Can you see the Excel file now?
Yeah, sir, clear.
Okay. Sorry for the delay happened. Okay. So in this Excel file, you have the tabs in the bottom. You have 5 tabs. The expected return, tenure of the investment, future value, present value, SIP. So these are the words. So I explain this one by one right now. What happened? Yeah. Can you see?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So in this Excel file, you can see 5 tabs I have created. The expected return, tenure of the investment, future value, present value, SIP. These are the things which was there in the PPT file slide. So I will not open the PPT again. Let us go with this. So first one is the expected return. So I have a question for that. I want rupees 5 lakhs after 5 years. I invest 5,000 every month. So what is my expected return? The question is very simple. I want a 5 lakh rupee after 5 years. So now I can invest 5,000 every month. So what should be the returns I can expect from a mutual fund scheme? That should be the threshold. That should be the minimum. For example, if you're getting as 12 percentage, if you want 5 lakhs after 5 years by investing 5,000 rupees every month, 12 percentage should be your threshold. If you invest into any scheme which gives you less than 12 percentage means you will not get 5 lakhs. If it is above 12 percentage means you will get more than 5 lakhs. So whatever it may be, these are the answers. We are going to calculate it. So shall we start it? So your target is 5 lakhs. The time is 5 years. Investment is 5,000 every month. So you are going to find out your expected return. The expected return is something in percentage. All right. These percentage things are called as rates in Excel. So we must use a function called as rate. So how can we take that function? You go to the auto sum, you click it, you get a pop down menu, go to the more function, and you will have the functions here. So the function what I told you is rate. So type as rate and click on go. You get the rate here. All right. So you are clicking on the rate. Now you have some function arguments. The Excel is asking you some information. You take the information from the question and put those information here. You get your answer. So first information is NPER. So NPER, the meaning of NPER is given here. The returns, the interest rate per period of the loan on investment is what we are going to find out. That's a rate. Okay. NPR is the total number of payment period of the loan or the investment. That means how many times you are paying or how long. So you are paying for 5 years. So tenure is 5, but you are paying every month. So NPR is not 5, it is 5 into 12 because Excel doesn't know whether it is years or months. It take it as compounding, number of compounding it has to do. So since you are paying every month, your money is going to compound 12 times a year because 12 months in a year, and you are paying for 5 years. So in a year, 12 times it compounds, and it compounds for 5 years. All right. So NPR is total number of payment periods. So that is your money is going to compound 12 times a year for 5 years. So 12 into 5. So 60 times you get the 60 here. So 60 times is what the money is going to compound. Then PMT. Payment made each period and cannot change over the lifetime of the loan or investment. Payment period each period. You are paying 5,000 rupees each period for 60 periods because Excel doesn't know whether it is monthly or yearly or whatever it may be. Excel take it as number of compounding periods. So you have 60 compounding periods, and every 60 compounding periods you are paying 5,000. So 5,000 you are paying for 60 times. So PMT is the payment made each period and cannot change over lifetime of the loan or investment. So 5,000 is what you are paying. Now, when you make the payment, give that money in negatives to Excel. Only then Excel will show you the returns in positive. So minus negative because money is going out of your pocket, so it should be in negatives. Then present value. Present value is the total amount that a series of future payment is worth. Now that is if you are paying anything in lump sum, you can put here. All right. You're not paying anything in lump sum. Future value. Future value is what the money you are going to get in future. That is this 5 lakhs. So that is 5 lakhs. So 5 lakhs is what you are going to get in future. And type. The type here is Excel is asking you, are you paying the money in the beginning of every compounding period or at the end of every compounding period? That means you have 60 compounding periods and you are paying 60 times, and one compounding period is for 30 days. So in these 30 days, are you going to pay in the first of the 30 days or on the 30th of the 30 days? So obviously when we are getting money, we pay immediately. So we financial planners assume that we always pay in the beginning. So if it is beginning, it is 1. If you're paying at the end, it is 0. So obviously whenever we get salary, we make our payments. So I'm assuming it as beginning 1. So now you click on this OK. You get the answer here as 1.57 or 1.569%. That is 1.569% is the answer. Now you don't go and search a mutual fund returns which gives you 1.569% because this 1.569% is for a month. What we have calculated is not for an year. Usually mutual funds will show the returns in terms of years. So if you go and find 1.569 means 90% of mutual funds will give you more than that. But what you are getting here is monthly. You convert that to yearly. So how can you convert it? You cannot simply multiply by 12. That is mathematics. This is something monthly, and we are going to find out for 12 months. So 12 months, the money compounds, right? Or these interest rate compounds. So we have to find out the compounding, the geometrical compounding. We should not put it as into 12. So how can I do is, this is a formula, 1 plus the monthly rate, the whole power, 12 times a year minus 1. So 20.54% is what the expected return. That means you need a 5 lakh rupee at the end of 5 years, and you have 5,000 rupees investment every year. So in which mutual fund I have to invest is, you have to invest into any mutual funds which gives you not less than 20.54%. All right. So that is the expected return. Hope you all understood. Right. Now, shall we go to the second? Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The second is about the tenure of the investment. How long should I invest? For example, there is a question for you. I invest rupees 10,000 per month in a mutual fund scheme, which gives me 15% per annum. How many years should I invest to get 7,50,000 rupees in future? That means I need a 7,50,000 rupees in future. All right. My expected return out of my income, when I calculated, I should invest into mutual fund scheme which gives me 15% per annum. So I'm shortlisting a mutual fund which gives me 15% per annum, and I invest 10,000 rupees every month. All right. So how long should I invest? How many months or how many years I have to invest? So it is simple. So I'm repeating the question. 10,000 rupees I'm investing into a scheme which gives me 15% per annum, and I want 7,50,000 rupees in future. When will that future come? How many years or how many months should I want to invest? All right. So for this one, expected return, Excel's function is rate. Now for the tenure, for time, the Excel function is NPER. Excel doesn't know whether it is months, years, or hours, or minutes. It take it as compounding periods. Compounding periods means the money which compounds. So how many compounding periods should I wait to get 7,50,000 rupees when my investment is 10,000 and my scheme is giving 15% returns? So now the function is NPER. We are going to find out. So AutoSum, more functions. You search it as NPER. Click on the go. You get the NPER. Click on the OK. Now argument is open. So number of periods of an investment based on a periodic constant payments or a constant interest rate. Okay. Everything is constant here, because when it is constant, you can simply easily calculate. When things becomes not constant, there comes the real financial planner skills. It is very difficult to calculate. We can do that later. So now constant. So now it's the rate. Rate is what? The interest rate per period. All right. So you cannot simply put as 15%, because our compounding period is month, not years. I'm paying 10,000 rupees per month. So I want to convert my rate to per compounding period, that is per month. If I'm investing 10,000 rupees per year, means simply you can put the 15% here, but you have to pay 10,000 rupees every month. So you have to convert this 15% to monthly. So 15% for 1 year, and if you convert that to monthly, means in mathematics simply you should do as 15% by 12. But here we cannot do that, because there is something called as compounding and discounting. The percentage compounds every month. So you want to discount it to monthly. So how can you discount it? Is 1 plus 15%, the whole power 1 by 12 minus 1. By 12 minus 1. So that's your percentage. You cannot take it as 15%, because compounding is happening every month. So you want to convert the yearly rate to monthly rate. That conversion is not simply divided by 12. That is mathematics, which misses the compounding, because you want the compound. So you are discounting it accordingly. Next is a PMT. Payment made each period. So 10,000 rupees you are paying monthly. All right. So it is minus 10,000. Next, the present value. Is there anything in lump sum you're investing? No, you're investing only the annuities. So there is no present value. Future value is the lump sum what you're getting in future, that is 7,50,000 you are entering here. Then the type, again by default I assume that I'm paying in the beginning of every period, so it's simply 53.67 months I want to invest. So if I invest 10,000 rupees for 53.67 months, I will get this amount. Now, if I want to convert that to yearly means, you can simply divide it by 12. Now you may think, last time you told that you cannot simply divide by 2 because that is compounding, discounting things are there. Here, how can you do? Because it is only the time, it's not the money. So time, we can ignore the compounding factor. So it is simply the monthly divided by 12, you get 4.47 years. So if you invest 10,000 rupees into a scheme which gives you 15% interest, and if you want 7.5 lakhs, you want to wait for 4.47 years. So that's it. So how long? If you want to reduce this, for example, I can't wait for 4 years. I must get this in 3 years, means increase your investment or increase the rate. You put this money into 15% per annum, you get it lesser than 4 years. Or you increase 10,000 to 20,000, you will get much faster. So that is the tenure of the investment. Third one is the future value. Am I audible? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
sir. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Next is the future value. The $1 billion question we all ask. If I invest this much, how much I will get in future? If I put 1 lakh today, how much I will get in future? That is simply the future value. So we can have two types of investment. One is a lump sum, that means you invest only once, or annuity. Annuity means you invest multiple times. All right. So we are going to find that. So first question, if you see, ignore the second question. First look into the first, then we go to the second one. If I invest rupees 3,500 every month in a mutual fund scheme for 10 years, how much will it grow at the end of 10th year if the expected return of the scheme is 13%? It's very simple. I am putting 3,500 rupees every month into a mutual fund scheme where I can get 13% per annum. If I do this for 10 years, at the end of 10th year, how much will I get? That's a question. So what are you going to get in future is called as future value, right? And your present value is in terms of annuity. So we are going to find out the future value of this annuity. Okay, so future value is future value. So in Excel has a function called as future value. So we are going to find that future value using the Excel function. So auto sum, no functions. So you type as FV future value, click on the go, it take you to the future value, click on the future value, click on the OK, the box is open. Rate is 13%, but you are paying it monthly. So convert the rate to months. So that is equal to 1 plus 13%, the whole power 1 by 12 minus 1. If you pay semi-annually, here it will be 1 by 2. If you pay quarterly, it is 1 by 4. Now, number of compounding period. How many compounding periods or how many payment periods you have? You are paying monthly for 10 years. So 12 times a year and 10 years. So 12 into 10, that is 120. That is 12 into 10 times I'm investing. PMT, what's the money you are paying in the every compounding period? 3,500. So minus 3,500. PV, do you have any lump sum along with this? That is, someone starts with some lump sum and then go for annuities. Here there is no lump sum, so nothing. Type, again I'm assuming that I'm paying money in the beginning of every month. So, oh, something went wrong. That is, here it is not 35,000, it is 3,500. So 8,27,800 88 rupees I get if I invest 3,500 rupees. So nobody do this. Whenever you put money into chit funds or LIC policies or whatever it may be, nobody is asking how much I will get in the future, thinking that nobody can calculate it. You can calculate it. And obviously there are some ready-made application mobile apps, and some mutual fund companies will have websites will have some things where you put in the value to gives you the returns. Never follow that. You do your own calculation. Here no formula is required, nothing is required. If you have some Excel knowledge, that's enough to do your calculations. So this is what you are investing. Now if I invest 1 lakh in the same scheme for the same tenure, how much will it grow in the at the end? So same scheme here, the same 13% scheme, same tenure, the same 10 years. I'm putting 1 lakh. How much will be 1 lakh after 10 years? So again, you go to more functions, future value, the rate. Rate here is 13%. Now you don't want to worry about how many months or years or nothing, because you are paying only once. So compounding is also take it for number of years. So when you're taking it for number of years, interest rate is also 13%. Otherwise, if you convert to monthly and if you put also, you will get the same answer. So in the case of lump sum, you can assume everything has to be yearly. So 13%. NPR is the total number of payment periods. You have the 10 years time, so it is 10. PMT, you don't have any PMT. When PMT comes in, you should care about the NPR and rate. If there is no PMT, there is no monthly payment or multiple payment, never worry about the rate and NPR, take it as years. But if you have some monthly payments coming in here, you should convert the rate and NPR to monthly. Then the present value is what the money you are investing. You are investing 1 lakh. Your type has no problem here because end or beginning, nothing. If you put 0 also, you get the same answer. If you put 1 also, you will get the same answer. See, now I am putting 1, I am getting this answer. Here's the same answer, right? If I put 0, again, same answer, different answer, right? So if I put 1 lakh into 13% scheme, wait for 10 years, I will get 3,39,456 rupees. All right. Shall we go to the next one? Okay. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes. Good go.
Okay. Okay. Only 2 more things. Hope I'm not boring you. Next is the present value. The present value is how much I want to invest today. You can invest in lump sum, or you can invest in monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or yearly. So now we are going to discuss about that lump sum investment. Then we go to the monthly, yearly, and all. So now, how much should I invest today as a lump sum in a mutual fund scheme for a period of 10 years? Expected return is 14%. Required amount is 6 lakhs. I need 6 lakhs after 10 years. So I'm going to invest into a scheme which gives me 14% returns. So I'm going to invest in lump sum. So how much should I invest? So what are we going to find out is the present value. The future value is given and the rate is given. NPR is given. We are going to find out the present value. So AutoSum, more functions, present value, search. Present value is open now here. So the rate is 14%. So it is not mentioned as I told, for lump sum there is no monthly, nothing. So you can take it as 14% yearly. NPR is total number of payment periods or total number of compounding periods. You have the 10 compounding periods here. So 10 years. Then PMT, there is no PMT here. You are paying only once. Not you're paying, you are going to get future value. So 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs is the amount what you're going to receive. So never give it as in negative. Give it in positive. 6 lakhs. The type, again, if it is 1 or 0, lump sums has no role on it. So I'm getting the answer in negative. That doesn't mean that you don't want to pay anything. That means the negative symbol of Excel says that you want to invest. So negative symbol of Excel says that you want to invest. So if you want to invest 1,61,846 rupees into a scheme which gives you 14% and you wait for 10 years, you will get 6 lakhs. So that's what the present value. And finally, the systematic investment plan, SIP in mutual funds. Technically, we call it as annuity, finding out the annuity. Very specific technical means you call it as singing fund, right? Singing fund, I'm going to find out the singing fund of it. The correct technical word for this is singing fund, which is just opposite to your loan EMI. Loan EMI, we call it as capital recovery. Just opposite to that is singing fund. So here, the question is, how much should I invest every month in a mutual fund scheme for a period of 10 years, where I'm expecting 14% of returns and required amount is 6 lakhs, the same, the previous one. And the previous one, I invest 1 lakh something, 65,000 rupees one time, and I get the 6 lakhs after 10 years. Here, I want 6 lakhs after 10 years. I'm investing into a scheme which gives me 14% of returns. So how much I invest every month? So the answer is here 2,406.81 rupees. Let us find it out. So again, this is a present value, very specific, it is a PMT value. So we want to use the PMT function, not present value, because present value is about lump sum. Present value of the annuity which is in present value, we have to use the function called as PMT. So PMT, you're opening it up, right here is 14%. Immediately you want to check out whether it is yearly or monthly. If it is monthly, simply put as 14, but it is, sorry, if it is yearly, put as 14, but it is monthly. If it is semi-annually, again, you have to convert that to semi-annually. So we are doing it now. I'm converting to monthly, 14%, the whole power 1/12. If it is semi-annually, it will be 1/2. If it is quarterly, if it is 1/4. Since it is monthly, and it is 1/12. Now the NPR is, you are paying monthly for 10 years. So it is 12 into 10. Present value, you don't have a present value here. Future value, what you are expecting is 6 lakhs. And you assume that you pay in the beginning of every year. So you have to pay 2,406.81 rupees every month to get your 6 lakhs. So that's all the calculations. Now it's open for questions.
Hello. Sir, this is Rajrajeshri.
Yeah.
Is it audible, sir?
Yeah, it's audible.
I have a question on this SIP. You said it is 14% and the expected value return is 6 lakhs, right?
Future value, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, future.
So in that
Value,
case, monthly we have monthly installment. You said 2,406 something. You told.
Yes.
Can I know this should be paid monthly? Means up to 10 years. How many years it has to be paid?
It has mentioned as 10 years. So 10 years every month you have to pay.
All 10 years I have to pay.
Yes. Yes, you have to pay for 120 times.
120 times.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So 120 into 12. Okay.
No, in total 10 years you are paying 120 times. That means 12 months you are paying in a year, you are paying for 10 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
So there is one more question in chat box.
Yeah, please.
Can I read it out?
Yeah, you can tell.
Lump sum is lower than monthly. Is it true?
Lump sum is lower than, yeah, definitely. Why it's not? Because lump sum means you are paying only one time. See, there is a thing that lump sum means something huge. No, it's not huge. It's single time. If you pay 1 rupee once, it is called as lump sum. If you pay 1 rupee twice, it is not lump sum. Hope you got the answer.
Sir, and one more clarification.
Yes, yes.
Regarding that SIP,
Yeah.
generally, in case we are paying it for 3 to 4 years, 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, whatever
I'm
it
not
is.
hearing you.
Hello, sir. Is it clear now? Hello? Is it audible, sir?
I'm unable to hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Is it audible now? Hello? Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Is it audible now?
Yeah. Tell me, please.
Sir, regarding this SIP, 3 years, for example, 3 years, I'm paying 3,000 rupees per month, and I'm paying it for 3 years.
All right.
And after the 3 years of period, in case I want to leave it as such, and after 1 year, I want to take the returns. Okay. What will happen to the returns? Will it increase, or the same returns up to the 3 years, whatever I got, only that I will get?
Wait, I will show you now. Can you see my Excel?
Yes.
Wait, because I need to calculate it. Your question is like you are paying 3,000 rupees for 3 years and you are leaving
Yes.
it for 1 year without paying anything. So what will you get after 4 years?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Will I get an added?
Yeah, definitely. See, when you're putting your money into a hold under a scheme, it will compound. It will compound without an annuity. That's it.
Okay.
How can you calculate this? Is no, as I told, you want to find out the future value of the 3,000 rupees annuity for 3 years. Wait, I will tell you now. Can you see the PPT now?
Yes.
Okay. So I assume that you are putting money into the same 14% fund. Okay. So you are paying monthly. So 1 plus 14%, the whole power 1 by 12 minus 1. And you are paying it for 3 years, right? So 3 into 12 you are paying, and you are paying 3,000 rupees every month. Okay. And this will be your value at the end of 3 years. Okay. Now you are putting this money in hold for next 1 year without any installments you paid. So this, so I assume that this money is into the same scheme of 14%, right? So how much you will get after 1 year is this amount into 1 plus 14%, the whole power 1 year, and you will get this money.
Okay. So the same 14% will be continued.
If you are maintaining the same scheme means you will get the same 14%. If you put that into banks means you will get 7% or 8%. Ma'am, what you are telling is happening in reality. What people do is, people plan for retirement. So when they plan for retirement, they do it, for example, they are doing it for 20-25 years. So 1 year before the retirement, they close it from mutual funds and they put money into the banks. Because to avoid the risk of these systematic risks, to avoid it, they put that money into banks. So in that situation, it happens like that. We need to calculate. For example, this value, this 1,51,000 rupees you got because you put that into the 14% returns. For example, if you are putting this into bank for 7%,
7%.
okay, you will get 1,42,000 rupees.
Okay, nearly 10,000 is reducing. Okay.
Yes. Because 7% compounding is missing. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other doubts?
Sir,
Questions?
hello.
Yeah, tell me.
The mutual funds are prone to risk, right? So how do we assess the risk percentage?
Yeah, thing is, you have something called as standard deviations. You have something called as value at risk. There are many methods to calculate it. And now if you don't want to take risk at all, means you can put money into the banks. Now in the previous calculation itself, you can see when I put money into banks, I lost around 10,000 rupees when comparing to the mutual funds.
Correct.
Got it? So
Yes.
if you don't want to take risk, means you can opt for banks, where banks will gives you less returns. For example, let us see this example. I hope you can see the screen, right? This
Yes, sir.
same
Yes.
scheme, in the same scheme, instead of putting into 14% of mutual funds, if I put this money into a bank which gives me 7% returns, let us compare what would be the future value I will get. One plus bank is giving me 1% returns,
Yes.
and I'm putting it for 3 years. 3,000 rupees I am. For example, if I put in bank, I will get only this. Are you getting it? So when you want more returns, you must take risk and invest into risky investments. But when you're putting into risky investments, you have the standard deviations, you have the value at risk. You are so many risk measuring things are there. Using that, you can put it. In mutual funds, you don't do any risk. Already, the fund is managed professionally, so someone else will manage your risk for sure. So you can opt for
Thank
that.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Questions?
So there are in chat box, sir. Can you see it or should I read it out?
In the chat box, yeah. Wait. Can you read it out? It's taking some time. Hello?
Yeah, sir.
Sir, will
Can you
market
read?
fluctuations affect our outcomes?
It will, because market fluctuates every time. But when you go through mutual funds, professionals will manage it. You don't want to worry about anything. And fluctuations affects based on the scheme in which you are investing. For example, you are investing into GSEC fund. GSEC funds means you will have only the government bonds. There nothing will happen. But if you're putting money into blue chips or equity based funds, means market will fluctuate. For example, present COVID situation, there was a blue chip fund in which I and my clients investing. The NAV was close to 45, 47 rupees before the COVID happens. Now it is 30 to 35 rupees. Only 10 rupees loss has happened. So definitely it will affect. My advice is, if you're going for long term, that means more than 3 years, 5 years, means go for an equities. If you don't have about 3 years, means put money into the bank and sleep peacefully. That's better.
What is the difference between mutual fund and life insurance?
Life insurance is not an
Will
investment. Yeah, tell me.
will there be benefits in that, or more benefits in that, or in mutual funds?
No,
As
both
you said,
are
risk is
very
more
different.
in the case
Because,
of mutual fund.
see, both are very different. Insurance policies are not a tool for investment. It is a tool of hedging your risk.
Okay.
You are hedging the monetary loss of your life with the insurance policies. It is not a scheme to save money, but mutual funds is to invest and make money. So see insurance as a hedging tool, but unfortunately in India we are seeing insurance as a tax saving tool. And as an investment, insurance is not, because if you calculate the future value of your investment, you don't even meet the inflation. You will not get more than 5 or 6%. But there are there are insurance schemes with a pinch of investments into it. There you will get returns sometimes.
Okay. And previously we saw about the bank percentage of FD percentage of interest. So what I want to know is, what is the minimum that we can get from the mutual fund? What is the minimum percentage of return that we can get from the mutual fund? You said 14. You gave examples of 14%, right? Hello. Hello.
Ma'am, you're audible, but like his
Yes.
connection goes.
He is not connected. Okay. Hello, sir. Hello. Sir, are you online?
Ma'am, let me call him, ma'am. Just a minute, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Ma'am, he lost the connectivity. He's coming back. Please wait for 2 minutes.
Okay. We'll wait on. Wait, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
you're audible.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
You ask a question. Yeah, madam. You asked me a question about maximum and minimum.
Yes, sir. Minimum
Yeah.
in the mutual fund.
Minimum in the
Mutual fund or
funds.
equity fund, whatever it is. Yes.
Okay. Minimum. That's what I told you. Nobody can assure it. But from my experience in the past 12 years, minimum is 7% if you have the patience to wait.
Okay. Because
Some
whenever we
people.
were going for the investment,
Ah.
any person who is dealing with the mutual fund always says that you will get minimum 7%, but they don't
Yes.
say, as you said now, there is no minimum. Is not told by anyone. It
Nobody
is
will
told
tell that.
you
Nobody
will
will
only
tell that.
get 7%. They
Yes.
assure us. Mm.
They are assuring. If you ask them in writing, they will not give you.
Okay.
Because mutual fund regulator says that it is subject to market risk. So
Okay.
nobody can assure you anything unless until there is a fund called as capital protection fund. That
Okay.
fund can assure you the money what you have invested.
Capital
And
protection fund.
capital protection fund that is not available for retailers. It is available only for big shots.
Okay.
So nobody can assure you. This mutual fund marketing fellows comes and talks many things. But
Okay.
what is the objective of my today's session is that you calculate everything and you tell them, show me gives me these returns, and
Yes,
then
right.
you analyze that scheme's history, and then make your investments. Never listen to those
Okay.
people. Otherwise, you
One
can
more
take the. Yeah, tell me, madam.
in Money Control website, some funds show negative after 3 or 5 years.
Yeah, it
What
will
that
show.
replicates? Do we lose some investment or just lose some profit?
No, lose means it is not about losing. The value of your investments goes down. For example, if you opt for an equity scheme, in 3 years, definitely you will have a negative returns. All right. Negative returns means if you close it, if you sell it, definitely your money goes off. Why are you selling it off? You hold it. You hold it and wait. 3 years, 2 years, definitely equities will not gives you a positive return. You take it for 5 years. The same scheme, in Money Control, the scheme which shows a negative in 3 years, see that scheme returns after 5 years.
Okay.
It will be more definitely.
So the longer period will give you good returns.
Yes.
Okay.
If systematic risk is not much.
Yes. That we have to watch it continuously.
Yes, you have to.
Okay. Mhm.
Otherwise, you have to opt a certified financial planner like me. He will do for you.
Okay. Somebody who without ourselves directly doing it, they can.
No. What I am thing is, no, madam. Since we are MBA, we know these technical terms.
Yes,
But
you are right.
see, few of my clients are doctors. They don't know anything. All right. They always call me and tell what I can do, because I will advise them. So they trust me, and my qualification gives them more trust. So they listen to me.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Any doubts, questions?
Actually, sir, there is so many questions piled up in chat box.
Wait a minute. Once I try to open the chat box, I lost the connection. Let me try once again.
Or else I can read it out, sir.
You read it one by one. That's better.
It's from Mr. Shaju, like whether sponsor and trustees are same.
No. Definitely not.
Registration.
Because when you see, there will be alike. For example, if State Bank of India's mutual fund, if you see, the sponsor will be State Bank of India. All right, and the trustee will be State Bank of India Trustee Company. So when you see, it will be everything is SBI. For example, SBI mutual fund, if you see, sponsor is SBI State Bank of India, trustee is SBI Trustee Company, AMC is SBI's AMC, and if you see the custodian, it will be HDFC. Very clear. So they by name they will be same, but definitely not same. They will be different.
The next one is custodian and RTA are same or different?
Will be different. It won't be same. But RTA can be a part of AMC. But custodian cannot be shared with anyone. It will be different.
Okay. The next one is who act like CDSL and NDSL, RTA or custodian?
No, RTA will be having contact with them, with NDSL and CDSL.
Like you have already cleared this doubt, but there is once again the same question from different person. Which scheme is beneficial, mutual fund or life insurance?
Yeah, I have given explanation for that. Life insurance is not a tool of investment. It is a tool to hedge your loss of life. For example, you take the vehicle insurance. Vehicle insurance, you are paying to protect your vehicle's monetary loss. It is not going to give you any returns. But in insurance, there is something like term insurance and endowment insurance, where endowment insurance is having a pinch of investment. That means if nothing happens to you, after the maturity period, you will get back something. That get back something is what people call it as investment, but it is not an investment. It's a tool of hedging, and it has a pinch of investment only in endowments. But if you ask me, insurance or mutual fund, that is based on your expected return and your financial, what do you call, status.
The next one is from Mr. Sivakumar. Actually, his question is not so clear, but I'll try to read it out. Monthly SIP getting 8.27 lakhs, 13% interest. But lump sum is 3 lakhs. Huge difference.
Yeah, it will be definitely be a huge difference, because SIP, for example, I'm starting a 3,000 SIP means it compounds 3,000 in the first month. Next month it compounds 6,000. Then it compounds 9,000. Compounds happens in 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. At the same time, if I put 1 lakh, the compound happens for 1 lakh. So that's a difference. Compounding difference is there.
Okay, this is once again from Mr. Saju. You said mutual funds are safe, but what happened in the case of Frank Templeton Company recently? Why they closed their mutual fund?
Yeah, that's a problem. They have a problem with the liquidity because of the COVID issue. That is subjected to market risk. It is a market risk because liquidity risk happens because of the loss of liquidity in the market. So that is why instead of losing money, they closed the funds and distributed. So this risk is listed one. It is there in the what do you call in the fund offer document. These risks are there, and but the problem is no salesperson will explain you these risks. If they explain, nobody will invest. So you read the offer document carefully and you understand all your risks and then invest. Definitely risk is there. One more thing, there is one more benefits that if 75% of the investors write to SEBI against a scheme, the scheme will be closed automatically. Right? Frankel Templeton case is something, it is not a cheating, it is a part of there because it is debt instruments. Debt instruments will lose its liquidity when the market is suffering like this. Equity instruments means liquidity won't be a big problem. So instead of losing money, they have closed it and made a what do you call amicable solution for the problem. Yeah, risk is there. Risk is there.
Next question from Mr. Sivakumar. Will market fluctuation affect our outcome? How much?
Definitely, it is based on the scheme in which you are investing. Because equities scheme means market fluctuations will affect definitely because it's an equity. Debt means again not market fluctuations. The interest rate risk will affect your NAV's value. No risk means zero risk means you should go with government bonds, treasury bills based mutual funds. So fluctuation will definitely affect.
So the next question is, what is the difference between mutual funds and RD?
Recurring deposit is something where you know how much you will get in future and everything is fixed. Your interest rate is fixed and you are doing with the bank and it is 100% safe. But mutual funds means nothing is promised to you. You are making the investment based on the units you have. Both are different.
The next question is from Mr. Rohan. An investor has two options, LIPs and mutual fund, with the same rate, like 15% expected return. Which one is better?
That is based on your requirement. ULIP is something you have the insurance coverage also. So you have the insurance coverage in that. But in mutual funds, I cannot tell that you don't have. Now it is there is something called SIP plus. SIP plus means you have the life insurance coverage also into that. So in that case, if you see mutual funds are better. My personal opinion. You take SIP plus, you get the mutual fund investment benefit as well as you get the life insurance benefit out of it.
Okay, so the next question is from Mr. Kamal Selvan. How units are allotted in mutual funds and equity funds?
Units are equity bonds. What is funds? It is based on the investment you make. That is total investment divided by the NAV of unit. You will get the units and you will get allocated up to 4 decimal points of units.
Like the next question is, will we get dividends for mutual funds?
Yes, you will get. You have what do you call dividend reinvestment option as well as dividend payout option. You can opt as per that. You will get dividends. For example, if it is a debt-based mutual funds, you will get the coupon interest as dividend. If it is equity-based mutual funds, you will get the dividends as dividend. It's there.
Okay. The next question is, what are opportunity funds and how do they work?
Opportunity funds is based on something like asset allocation. That is, at that time, what asset performs better, they go with that. I think so. I'm not very sure about it because it is based on the AMC which floats it. So it is based on the best one from the market, they will opt.
Okay, the next question is, for government bonds, do we need to attend the auction? Please clear the process of government bonds.
Government bonds in mutual funds, you don't want to do any auctions, anything, because the scheme itself, the portfolio itself will have the government bonds. If you want to invest directly means you must go through the banks. Proper banking channel is there where you can, it is not auction, you can apply for it. Sometimes they will go for book building process. If not, they will not go. It is based on allocation. Majority people go for book building process, but I don't know well about because I haven't tried government bonds through the banking channels. I buy from the secondary market through the stock market. Otherwise, I will go through mutual funds. Proper IPO government bonds I haven't tried, but the process is you have to go through the banking channels.
Okay. Rate of return for government bonds.
That will be close to maximum 9%. Maximum. That is RBI will announce that. 7 to 9%, if I'm not wrong.
And what are passive index funds best? See, I don't know, that question is not in full form. Passive index funds best perform.
Passive funds are there. Passive funds means the fund management won't be that active. They will follow some index. Yeah, passive index. For example, if Nifty fund means Nifty have 50 companies. They put your money into those 50 companies and they will sit. They will not actively manage the funds. The passive index funds benefit is the management fees is lesser and it goes with a particular index. So you follow the index, you get the returns of it. The next question.
Yeah. What are the hedge funds?
It is something like an alternative investment where the money collected for the hedging purposes are being managed into that. That is a different, not like our mutual funds. It is entirely different. It's a very big business. Next question, please.
Yeah, like whether ULIP works in same way like mutual funds.
Both are managed like mutual funds, but ULIPs it have some coverage of insurance. If you ask me the concept, it is more or less the same.
The next one is
yeah.
Yeah, you just finished it.
Yeah, I have done it. No problem.
Okay.
Next is different types of mutual funds. Now I can see different types of mutual funds, right? Hello.
Yes.
Different types of mutual funds. See, in the books you have read many different types, but it has subdivisions inside it. Basically, it is divided into equities, bonds. I mean, equities, debts, hybrid. Equities means you will have only the equities, or your majority will have only equities. Debts means you will have debts or majority of debts. Hybrids means you will have both. And again, you have the open, closed intervals. Open means it is open for repurchase and subscriptions. Anytime you can enter, exit. Closed means you can enter, exit only
Yeah, there is a connectivity issue. You will be back in 2 minutes. Please wait, guys.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah. Yes, sir. So you are not audible.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your clarifications. Very
Welcome.
good session. We had good knowledge. We had attained good knowledge about this mutual fund. We know that it is a risk, but how to come out of it has been now explained by you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, I have one suggestion. The calculations what I have done when we are looking while I'm calculating, it seems to be very easy, but it is not that easy. So when you try out, when you have doubts, feel free to contact me at any time. I can help you out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Shall I log off?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Welcome.
for the wonderful session.
Welcome. Bye.